my press pass if I don't ask you about the fiscal cliff. So let me ask you two questions about the fiscal cliff. One, how do you think Republicans ought to play this? And two, how do you think it's going to get resolved between now and the end of the year, or will it get resolved between now and the end of the year?
Well, I think the Republicans ought to do everything they can to strike a reasonable compromise without surrendering fundamental principles. They've agreed that to find additional revenue, but they've heretofore agreed that any increase in revenue has to be tied to entitlement reform and not to raising tax rates, but to closing loopholes in fundamental tax reform. I think that's a good place to be. I frankly have long been dubious that we're able to get this thing done by the end of the year. Think about this: we've got less than 7 weeks to go before the end of the year, and we've got the expiration of the Bush tax cuts, the expiration of long-term unemployment insurance benefits, the expiration of the annual tax expenditures, the expiration of the payroll tax holiday, a battle over last year's tax extenders, and a debt ceiling vote. And we can't get that all done in the few days that are left. And particularly since there's been no effort by the White House and congressional leadership, particularly in the Senate, to attack this problem since the debt ceiling agreement came about in July 2011. So I think the best thing to do is what Speaker Boehner is suggesting, which is find a way to carry over some of these things status quo ante and resolve these issues as much as possible in a thoughtful fashion with congressional hearings, congressional committee action, and action in the floor of the House and Senate that's resolved in a conference committee in a reasonable amount of time in 2013. It is too much to stress the system out to try and get this all done here in 41 or 42 days with Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Christmas, and New Year's intruding into the process.